Hello fellow Geekweekers. A couple of months ago I bought this notebook, largely because I have a really bad notebook buying addiction, and I don't mean like the cheap 70 pagers, I mean the ridiculously expensive, nicely bound Barnes & Noble notebooks. Yeah. At the time I didn't really have anything to use this notebook for, but shortly thereafter I decided to fill it with my favorite quotes. At this point it's still not very full. In fact, these are the only pages with any quotes on them. All of these are blank, just waiting to be full of quotes. But even so, I still really like the idea. I just love quotes. You can learn so much from them and feel so emotionally resonated by them, and I don't think you could easily get that feeling from anything else. In the case of this particular notebook, I love that I write them down as I discover them. So often there will be several quotes from a single book or movie, row, and you know that at one point I was reading that book or watching that film or whatever, and I just had to stop and write down that quote. And by extension, you can assume that I must love that thing if I wrote down so many quotes from it. And I just like that this notebook not only is filled with quotes from random books and movies and TV shows, but that it's also a story about me. If someone were to find this notebook on the street and pick it up and just start reading it, they would know that at one point I was reading Fahrenheit 451 and wrote down pages and pages of awesome quotes, and that at one point I was obsessed with the last words of famous people and wrote down loads of them, and that I really like Every Day by David Levithan, and so many others. These are things that in everyday life I don't really talk about, but I still love them, and this notebook is kind of an outlet for that love without having to actually express it. I am so comforted by the thought of accidentally losing this notebook by one day leaving it in a restaurant or on an airplane or whatever, and somebody finding it and reading through and learning so much about me just from this. I think that's awesome, and I'm definitely gonna continue to fill this up. I'll see you guys next week.